You're listening to the Eat 'em Up Pod, your home for Detroit Tigers opinions, discussion, nonsense, and more. Now, here are your hosts, Jordan Hall and Alex Urban.
Welcome to Eat 'em Up. I'm Jordan Hall, joined as always by the Tailgate King of Detroit. It's Alex Urban. Alex, how are you tonight, buddy?
Jordan, I'm doing all right. The Tigers are holding on at this moment to a 5-4 lead as they attempt to go for their second win in a row since the first time since the Clinton administration. So hopefully they can. But all in all, I'm doing pretty well. How about you, my friend?
I'm good. How was the long weekend? Did you do anything fun, anything special? Go out see your leprechauns?
Did not have a chance to see the Leprechauns, but I did see that, and this is a total aside, DJ LeMahieu is the manager of the Leprechauns. That's pretty cool. Local Michigan guy. Gleyber Torres threw out the first pitch. I guess it's good that he can throw baseballs, but yeah, that's pretty cool. But no, we had a good long weekend here in the Urban household. The weather was pretty gross, but Monday was beautiful. So we live near a lake, and they had a little homeowners association had a nice cookout for everybody, and the kids were splashing around, and it was a beautiful time. How about you?
Nice. Yeah, we actually made pretty good use of our long weekend. So we've definitely reached the part of middle age where we do stuff to the yard. That was not something we had experienced before, but we've reached that level. So yeah, we redid kind of part of our back little patio area, put in some plants, obviously added another bird feeder as one does. And then on Sunday we went to the Brookfield Zoo, which is just outside of outside of Chicago. Very nice zoo. I would highly recommend to anybody. But that was where I learned of the staggering news of what Kenley Jansen did to us. I learned that from you. I was outside the Dolphins. Even the clicks and the jumps couldn't save that.
They knew. They must have known. And they were trying to console you. I did want to ask about your bird buddy. I've been following you on the Instagram, and there's been quite a few. A blue jay has been mixed in there. You are rocking and rolling with this thing now.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, we're just going to get into it now. So I've gotten very into it. I'm able to identify most of the birds that fly through. I think we've had about 10 different birds. We have some woodpeckers that are pretty frequent, and I would say that they've taken up the spot as being my number one favorite. They're just such handsome fellas or ladies. I guess I don't know what they are. Regardless, they're handsome. But yeah, they come around. The only problem we've had is we had a bit of a raccoon problem for a while that we think we're on the other side of. But it is not. It could just be playing mind games with us. I guess we'll find out. But we haven't seen him in 3 days, so I'm assuming that means he's gone.
They're crafty, those raccoons, and mean, and yeah. Anytime I've had to wrestle with one, not really close, but just in the backyard or something, you have to shoo them away. It's not fun, not fun at all. Did you know, Jordan, a woodpecker's tongue wraps around into its brain?
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a third of the bird's body length, and it wraps around the skull, and then it can come out to get into the tree bark. Don't know how I know that, but yeah, woodpeckers' tongues are wildly long.
Well, that's amazing. I'm gonna tell Whitney that as soon as we're done recording here. I don't even care if it's true or not.
Listen to the Eat 'em Up Pod for all facts on tigers and birds.
But just woodpeckers. You ready to talk some ball, Alex?
Let's talk ball, Jordan.
All right, so I feel like we're at a little bit of a crossroads here in the season, but possibly even just us as a show. Last week, as many of you remember, it was not a fun show. I don't know, you might have enjoyed it, but it wasn't a fun show. I feel like I might have gotten at least most of my anger out in that show. Do you feel like you're there?
I thought I was until I saw that Matt Vierling play tonight, and then I was going to absolutely rage on tonight's episode, but they've taken the lead, and I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, I mean, from a macro perspective, I think we got our feelings out last week, and even if things kind of falter the rest of the way, we're just going to be objective about it. And there's things still to look forward to for this season, no matter what happens, Jordan. I mean, obviously the trade deadline is either going to be really exciting or really depressing, but also could be really exciting, even if they are sellers. So, yeah, let's speak constructive on this show. I think that's a great word you have here for it.
Yeah. I feel like we're kind of at the point where like it can get away from us in a heartbeat if we let it. But there's 100 games left, as we mentioned last week many times. Everything is still to play for, even if like the ship isn't righted. And I think that you and I, at least, and hopefully the fan base at large, will just have more fun if we take the positive timeline here and positive approach. And I think that there was a decent amount in that Baltimore series to suggest that is the route that we should be taking.
I hate to say it because it didn't feel this way, but there was a lot to like in that Baltimore series, and they very easily could have swept that series, Jordan. And we're feeling 10 times better if they do. I mean, they were one literal strike away from at least taking the series before Kenley Jansen opened up a meatball shop. But yeah, and here's the thing too, is like, I don't think they're going to win the World Series, Jordan. Even if they make some crazy run. So tempering expectations is going to be key for enjoying the rest of the season. You and I both love baseball, so, to your point, let's just find things and silver linings to enjoy. The rest of it's going to be very frustrating, but like we kind of know what we have at this point. Obviously, anything could happen with 108 games to go. But, I'm excited to see the progression of Kevin McGonigal. I'm excited to see if Riley Green can continue to heat up. I'm excited to see the debut of Max Clark. And all of those things are saying, like, I'm not giving up on the season yet. But, I think we've all been harping on the negative because of the expectations we set for this team at the beginning of the season. It has put everything else in the rearview mirror in terms of the things that we should be enjoying.
Yeah, definitely. So just to kind of level set, we're recording Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. They're in the game right now. They're currently leading, but excluding tonight, they've lost 16 of their last 19, and coming into today, set 10 games back in the division and 5 in the wild card with 108 games left. We have seen, and you guys may recall this, division leads can shrink. They can go away. I'm not saying that it's likely. I'm just saying that I think it can happen, especially with 9 games left with Cleveland and 13 left with the White Sox. Not that I don't think the Royals and the Twins can make runs, but I think those are probably our 2 biggest competition. I think that there are crumbs. Like I said, I don't think the ship has righted. I don't think that this is the optimism that we came into the season with, Detroit Tigers. But I think that there are crumbs to hang on to if you are desirous of doing so, which I think I am.
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. And 5 games back with 108 to go is absolutely still in the hunt. I mean, they have pretty much the entirety of the league in between them in those 5 games, but crazier things has happened. I mean, that Guardians team last year, they went on a hot streak. They were a good team, but they weren't a great team. Right? It was more the Tigers than the Guardians, if we're being honest with ourselves. So I think the division is probably out of reach, but I certainly still think they can get a wild card berth. And how many times do we have to say, you just play a month or 2 of good baseball and things turn around here real quick. So I'm with you, Jordan.
Like a couple weeks of good baseball. Yeah. I think that would be enough to really lift everyone's spirits and get us right back into it.
Yeah, and I think they just need to start hitting the ball for us all to feel better too, Jordan. I have to pull up quite a wild stat that was brought up on the broadcast tonight, but it was tweeted by one Chris Castellani. In the last 19 games, Jordan, how many times do you think the Tigers have scored more than 4 runs?
It was once, right?
Just once. Literally one time. And tonight is the first time the Tigers have scored 5 or more since May 10th. That's from our boy Rogelio. So literally just start hitting the ball and things will improve.
Yeah. That's staggering numbers. Really, really bad numbers. But that's where we're at. I think it'd be helpful to go kind of game by game through the Baltimore series because I would like to lay out kind of a hey, let's not give up on the season case. All right, so let's dig in here. Game 1, we survived another uneven jack start. I think I have a theory when it comes to you, Jack. I think it's bullpen time. And I don't necessarily think that specifically because of how poorly he's been pitching as a starter. So if you look at the strikeout rate, 24% strikeout rate. That's higher than any reliever not named Birch Smith, Will Vest, or Drew Anderson. The bullpen is screaming out for guys that can miss bats. His best outings have come when I don't want to say best. His most sustained success is when he can kind of let it all out and not necessarily need to worry about maintaining success inning to inning. He can just go out and battle for like the last inning of the start, for example. I think that short bursts are kind of the best of both worlds, both for what we need and for what I think can get the best out of him. And when we have a fully aligned rotation, knocking on wood that happens, I kind of think that it's a net positive for both him and us to move him out there.
I'm way into it. I'm into trying anything with Jack Flaherty that's not involving the starting rotation, Jordan. I mean, that's just where I'm at right now. But you bring up a good point. I mean, in small doses, and this is why I kind of called for him to maybe be an opener, it hasn't looked as gas canny, if you will. No. Yeah, I think they should try it. And what is there to lose? That is a lot of my questions for the current iteration of the team. At this point, what is there to lose? Because the bullpen cannot hang on to anything. So why not mix and match a little bit? I don't know. Obviously, not a lefty, but I think the Brant Herter injury absolutely shakes things up. So they need to try to figure it out. And, it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on a colander. Like, you can only do so much, but at least try. I think that'd be good. We've seen enough of Jack in the starting rotation for me to know, if not DFA, at least try him in the bullpen.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know. I tend to think that Quarters it probably isn't going to DFA him. Like it's a lot of money to eat, more than I think he will be comfortable with. But you do need 8 guys out of the bullpen that can get outs. And as of right now, that list is not real deep. But you bring up an interesting point with the Herter thing. He had been kind of bounced back from some struggles, and he had kind of found his footing again. I was a little disappointed with the way they let that game progress weather-wise. Obviously, you can't say he got hurt because of the rain. But it seemed like only bad things happened to us once the rain got a little bit heavier. And in a season where just nothing is going your way, let's play on and I know people say the Orioles are playing in the same conditions, but how about we just have a playable field so guys don't get hurt and Jackson Holliday doesn't hit 214-foot homers? Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I thought it was egregious to have both teams playing in those conditions. Like it wasn't good baseball. But it makes it that much more frustrating because you don't know what would have happened if that wasn't the case, right? Yeah. Like leave it up to chance. It's just not good baseball. So that has been funky this year. What was the game where in Cincinnati maybe where it was like 11 o'clock they came back and the Tigers were like, they were leading, so they didn't want to come back out. But it was another one of those. It's just been wacky decisions when it comes to the weather this year in terms of the umpiring. But conversation.
And you get it. Like you want to get games in, especially I would assume they had in the back of their mind that tomorrow was probably not going to be much better and end up being rained out. But still, that's not ideal. That being said, in that game, we did do some things that winning requires. Got ahead early. McGonigal got him on the board early. Added on runs from the bottom of the order. I think Hao-Yu Lee had an RBI knock. And then the Orioles kind of answered, and we answered back immediately. And at that point, I'm like, all right, this is new. They didn't immediately close up tent, close up shop. I mean, one of those. Some combination of is the phrase. And I'm like, all right, this is a little bit different. But then some of those mitigating factors, the McGonigal error kept the inning going where Pete Alonso hit the homer. Jack balked in a run, and then obviously the Holiday with the cheapy homer. it was the first time in a hot minute where I'm like, I actually think we were the better team tonight. You know what I mean? Like most games, it feels like we are just holding on to be in the same ballpark as the other team. It actually felt like we were the better team that night.
No, it did. And what a refreshing feeling that was to actually feel like they put their best effort forward. And that's why I think I texted you earlier and said, unconscionably, I feel better about this team than I did last week. And they have all of one additional win to show for it. But it just feels like they might be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm really hoping that's not a train approaching, but I don't know.
50-50.
It just, yeah. I think, and I mentioned this, I was talking to Ben Bozier earlier today, like so many things have gone wrong in this season. The law of averages alone and water finding its level means like there is some positive regression in terms of less injuries or guys just playing to their career average ability. Like not everything will go drastically wrong for the entirety of a season, no matter like how bad and doom and gloom we think it is. Like at some point, some of these guys are going to get on a little bit of a hot streak. That's just baseball, right? And the whole team is not going to just die all at the same time. And you are going to start to get some of these guys back. So yeah, it did feel to me like, okay, like maybe they're getting a little bit of confidence back. And it was good to see because they needed to see it. We needed to see it too.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of good news, I guess let's say mixed news. Today in the injury report from AJ, it sounds like Glaber and Kerry Carpenter are getting much closer to coming back, and Javi, unfortunately, is. I think there's a chance we don't see him again in the lineup this year. Ankles are a funny thing, and honestly, when he did it, it felt really rough. It looked weird and uncomfortable, but. It would be huge to get Glaber back. Obviously, Kerry helps lengthen the lineup, and you get way, way fewer at-bats from guys like, I don't know, Zach Short.
Which I think we're all fans of. But I don't know if anyone would ever foresee me saying, boy, would it be nice to have Javier Baez back right now. But, just his professional bats and him in center field, I feel like would be a huge boon for this team. And, he's beloved in the clubhouse. But, yeah, reports today was just that ankle is not coming around the way that anybody wanted. He still doesn't feel good, can't run right on it. So he's going to see a specialist. So I fear you might be right, Jordan. It might be the end of Javier Baez, at least for this season. We know he's under contract next. But Gleyber Torres did take a break from his swinging progression. He feels good in the field, but hasn't felt 100% swinging. That's what they need from him. At least that's what's reported. They want him to feel 100%. But he took some cuts today, felt good. He's going to take some cuts tomorrow. So hopefully we are nearing a rehab assignment for Gleyber Torres. Kerry Carpenter's still not near a rehab assignment as well. But like I said, some of these guys eventually are going to start to come back. It's not just like we lost them for the entirety of the season. But who knows?
Yeah, adding Glaber back to the top of the order. If nothing else, he sees pitches and wears guys down a little bit for the guys lower in the lineup. But jumping ahead to Sunday, this was the game that mercifully I missed. Fromber was dynamite. Went back and watched some of the clips from him. He looked fantastic. Took advantage of a mistake from Baltimore for the first run, and shockingly, it was Torque that helped us with the add-on run late, and then unfortunately, you got to play 27 outs.
It was horrific, Jordan. I mean, I'm just sitting there watching it, and I'm sure all you guys are just sitting there watching it, just like, all right, just shut this thing down. Maybe you can take the next one and get out of here with a series victory. And to the 9-hole hitter, to a guy who's hitting, he's got a sub 600 OPS, no power to speak of in Colton Cowser, just absolute nukes a grooved pitch from Kenley Jansen. I mean, Dan Dickerson said it best. You got to be kidding me. Like, all you can do is stare at your TV in silence watching that happen. And the broadcast was silent, too. I mean, this was a guy who's, like, a historic closer. Like, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, this is the only thing he's ever done. And the numbers speak for themselves this year. I think he's already got like 6 blown saves or something, and he's had 6 blown saves in 137 innings prior to joining the Tigers. It was just par for the course for this season, and really kind of ruined my Sunday. I'm not going to lie.
That being said, the second game of the doubleheader, getting that win, that took some massive balls. Like, to get the runs early in the first inning, I might go as far as to say that season saving. Like, to get such kicked right in the stomach in game 1 and to bounce back and win the second game, that was like, if they lose that game, legitimately the season might be over. But they didn't. Melton came up big. What did you see out of Troy in his first start back?
Polish, Jordan. I thought he looked very polished, and I think he didn't look rusty at all, and he looked like he was ready for the moment. I mean, you could feasibly think that this kid felt like the world was on his shoulders. All the fanfare, all the talk from last season, people are penciling him in as like the number 3 in the rotation before the injury in the season, like he's the next big hot thing. And then the team flounders, and he comes off the injury list, and they need a win. Like you said it yourself, if they lose that game, like, it's one game, but we might as well pack it up with the way the vibes were going. And he just goes out and shoves. He does his job. He looks good doing it. He looks comfortable. I thought he looked outstanding, and it's good to have him back, Jordan. It's good to have a little bit of reinforcement in the starting rotation, because I never want to hear the term pitching chaos ever again. I'm so over it, and to me, it's not like cute. It's not like a gimmick anymore. It's just like a lack of depth, which is shocking to me, because we talked about how much depth they had in the pitching department to begin the season. But yeah, they need legitimate starting pitchers that can go out every 5th day and take the ball and not have to cobble this thing together. But yeah, what a breath of fresh air it was for Troy Melton. But what did you see? What did you like? Tell me all about it.
Yeah, I thought the commands looked a little shaky early, which, I mean, that's to be expected. He was out for a very long time, but he tightened it up real quick, real fast. Velo looked good. I think there's more to come there. It's, again, pretty reasonable to think that'll work its way up. No big mistakes. As a young kid, we have a lot of expectations for him, because he, like you say, he was such a huge part of the stretch run last year, but like, he has very, very minimal innings under his belt at even the high levels of the majors, the minors, let alone the majors. This is a kid that's going to have to work through some just basic young player progressions. But he was dynamite when we really, really needed it. And it's kind of hard to, like you say, pitching chaos only works if you have a bullpen that's not designed to, but is capable of doing that. You get outside of 2 or 3 guys in the bullpen right now, and it's a major crapshoot. Like, this is not a team that is capable of pitching chaos. It's hardly a team that's capable of regular bullpen usage.
Just chaos.
Just chaos. That's exactly right. So if we can have another guy that typically gives us 5 or 6 innings, honestly, I would take that, and I think there's a pretty good chance that more often than not, he is going to be giving us more than that, which is a huge deal. But yeah, he seems to already have a knack for turning in big performances in dire situations. So, yeah, I think he's a dude. I think he's a dog. I think he's the kind of guy we need, which is good, because he's back and kicking.
Amen, Jordan. Lest we forget, he started Game 1 of the American League Divisional Series on the road in Seattle and looked outstanding doing it. The Tigers got the win in that game and not the series. And going back to our, what we started the show, trying to find silver linings, kind of things to look for. This guy hopefully is going to be a mainstay in the rotation for years to come. So I am excited now that he's back, now that he's healthy, to see the progression of him under the tutelage of Chris Fetter. I know Chris Fetter, a lot of people have some opinions about him this year based on the pitching performances. I think you can only do so much with the cards that you've been dealt. all of that said, I'm excited to see the kid grow and hopefully lock down a rotation spot for next year because I think he could be a really strong piece, and they need it. I mean, Tarek Skubal is his tenure as a Tiger is coming to a close by the day, right? So we have to look forward and see who's going to be some of the next guys. Troy Melton's certainly not Tarek Skubal, but I do think he could be a very good pitcher in this league all the same.
Yeah, definitely. So just to tie a bow in the Baltimore series, they are not a good team. They are 6 games below 500, very far back in their division. But there was something to work with from that series, and that's all you can hope for when you had lost, 16 of 19 coming in. So that being said, Alex, I have a few moves I would like to see made. I'm not usually the kind of fan that I want to see this guy, I want to see this guy. I typically will defer to your boy Quarterzip Theo, but I have a few nits to pick with the current roster, and I'm going to pose it to you as our resident Scott Harris defender here. Why is Zach Short on the roster?
Not a Scott Harris defender. Just had to put that one out.
In the YouTube video, I'm going to put that under your name.
Yeah. I got the Zach Short jersey. I don't know, Jordan. Frankly, it is baffling to me. It's puzzling to me. It is, I don't know if Zach Short and Wenzel Perez have big stock in Little Caesars. That's the only thing I can think of, but these guys are losing players on a losing team. Try anything else. Please try anything else. But yeah, Zach Short's not giving you anything. And I know last week I had made the comment, Scott Harris, why don't you just go out and pluck the best defender that you can find that can't hit anyway? And you said, well, that's what they tried in Zach Short. But Jordan, he's not even that good in the field anymore. I mean, he can make the routine play, but ultimately, there has to be anyone better. So that is stuck in my craw. That and another guy I know we're going to get to is Wenzel Perez. But Scott, what are we doing here? I'm not going to blame this season on you. I know a lot of people are calling for his job. I don't think he's going to get fired. But in a vacuum, I think keeping those 2 guys on the roster right now is terrible roster management. Truly. But
Agreed.
I cannot wait to hear your nits because you are as steady Eddie as they come, and you got to be at your wit's end to kind of want to shake things up. So hit me with it.
Okay, so my primary response was when Zach Short made the team, I'm like, I guess we have to have somebody else that could play shortstop. It was before Zach McKinstry came back. I guess there has to be somebody else that's not who I would have picked, but he can play shortstop. There is no world in which we need 3 shortstops on this roster if one of those 3 is Zach Short. That being said, I will say for Zach, he's actually been overperforming a little bit. He has 3 whole hits since coming back, and he's walked 5 times. That was more or less a joke. But Max Anderson's ready. He obviously missed a lot of time early in the year, but he's hitting 304 over his last 2 weeks. He is not on the 40-man, but I can think of some guys that we could DFA. Let's start with Zach Short. Gage Workman, I think, could certainly fall into that category. Drew Summers, I think they are all perfectly fine DFA candidates. I know that AJ made the point about how it's tough to make big changes because roster moves are required. But when you don't trade Skubal in the offseason and you more or less push your chips into the center of the table, you have a different set of rules, which means you cannot be afraid to lose somebody like Gage Workman or Drew Summers or several other guys in the 40. You just can't be afraid when it comes at the cost of having somebody on the roster that can hit. And I don't know that Max Anderson can hit, but I got a pretty good feeling he's a better hitter than Zach Short. So that's my big one with Max. And it appears that we are coughing up this game too, so that's fun.
This will hurt me tremendously if they lose this game. They have to have this series. I'm going to go on record and saying there is no coming back. As positive we've been tonight, if they lose to the Angels, it's done. It's over. And yeah, okay. Just gave up the big fly. This one's cooked.
This one is indeed cooked.
All right.
I got to be honest with you. In light of this, changing out Zach Short and Wenzel doesn't seem super relevant. Sometimes there's just no fixing it.
Yeah. But plead your case. Let's keep going here. What I did want to talk about Wenzel Perez, Jordan. I did see a stat that, statistically, he is the worst player in the league. Like, that's not me trying to be a jerk. Like, as the numbers show, the worst, Jordan. So, with options remaining, I'm just flabbergasted. Like, what is this guy still doing here?
Yeah, he hit the home run tonight, and then he also, half an inning later, bounced up against the wall and had the ball hit off his glove and cost a run. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing. Yeah, I believe the stat is there's 1,100 players that have worn a uniform and played in a game this season, and he is the absolute worst when it comes to WAR over the course of the season. Which I don't think it's a good idea to have that player on your team if there's an option.
It just feels like the definition of insanity at this point. And I get it. Like, they're injured. There's really probably, in their mind, not better options in Toledo or otherwise. But if you're talking about literally the worst player in the league, take a list of, what did you say, 1,100 people?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, he's number 1,100. Do we think anyone in the minors are going to be at least 1,099 or better? I'm kind of being a jerk here, but I just can't believe this is what we're watching, and there's been no turnover on the offensive. I know that they're swapping out pitchers here or there, but they're not trying anything else offensively. Zach Short and Wenzel Perez are getting start after start after start. And the season is being actively run into the ground with some of these players.
And if you're going to just be tossing at bats, at least give him to Max. Get him up here and get him through the inevitable rookie struggles. Everyone's going to struggle. You might as well get it out of the way while nothing else is going right. That being said, he actually has been pretty decent over the last couple weeks. I do think that he's kind of made his way through that wilderness period that we talked about, and that it's time. At this point, what is there to lose? Truly, what is there to lose? I refuse to believe that he comes up and is worse than Vierling. He comes up and is worse than Wenzel. Literally can't be done. It's time.
It is time, Jordan. What do you think is the number one reason that this is happening? I've got a reason in my head that is more anecdotal than anything, but if you had to put your pin on it, and it can be injuries, it can be wacky, guys all underperforming at the same time, roster construction, what is one reason that you're going to pin this on?
This is going to sound crazy considering the moniker that we've given them for the last 2 years, the Gritty Tigers. There seems to be a maybe even organizational-wide lack of focus and urgency. Hitting, pitching, on the base pads, in the field. It just feels like the eye has been taken off the ball a little bit. And, baseball's an incredibly hard game. Being 5% less focused than you were last year when things went to heck and we lost the debate, I think that's all it takes, and all of a sudden, all of the little things that went right that made the Tigers who the Tigers were are all of a sudden not going right, and it's gone down the poop chute really, really fast. So I would say that's kind of very hard to, that's not very, tangible, but I gotta think that it's just not as tight as it's been. But I'm curious to hear what you have, what you're on here.
It's not too far off from what you have, Jordan. But for me, it's the complete lack of leadership in the clubhouse. Like, as much as we talk about these are, nice, fun guys, they're largely all laid back. It doesn't ever feel like these guys outwardly hate losing. And something that I've been kind of stewing on lately, and again, like, not everything makes it to the press, but you've never heard last year in the swoon, you've never heard this year about a closed-door players-only meeting. Like, there's not one voice in that clubhouse that is, essentially holding each other accountable.
Who would even do that? Like, if I told you tonight that happened after the game, who would you even think is running that? I wouldn't have the faintest clue.
Probably in previous days, I would tell you Matt Vierling, but I don't think there's anyone, truly. And the only one who's looking like they enjoy playing baseball right now is Kevin McGonigal, and he's a rookie.
Yeah.
The team just looks like they are showing up at a 9 to 5. They're punching in, they're punching out, and then they're going home. Like, if I was getting stuffed into a locker at my job for a month straight, I would be beside myself. I would be fired up. I would be, if it was me and my team, we would have plenty. And you and I work office jobs, but like, at some point, someone has to step up and how many times do we have to say this on this show? Yeah, fight back, punch back a little bit instead of just, I know the word country club has been used a lot in terms of AJ Clinch's clubhouse. That's kind of how it feels to me. Just like, go with the flow, chill guys, which is fine if you're winning. But if you're losing and you've got nobody saying, like, this isn't how it should be, it's a bad product. And it is a bad product right now. I really hate to be negative, Jordan. I do, but they might have just broke my spirit tonight.
Yeah, I mean, most of what we spent the first 2/3 of the show, I don't know. I hate to pen too much on one game. Just they had this game won, and this is such a microcosm of what we've seen over and over and over and over again.
Do you have any Tiger King grounds to give away?
I
this
do.
week?
I mean, there was good stuff this week, and I'm giving mine to Troy Melton. A welcome back kid, and B, like, stepping up in a super big spot. In a week, it probably will no longer look like a super big spot, but it was in the time. And regardless, we need him to make, I don't know how many's left, 20 starts through the rest of this year. Develop, learn, hopefully win. Like, this is, like you said, this is a key piece, and we just saw step one in the 2026 Troy Melton story. How about you?
You know what? The listeners get my crown this week for watching this baseball team on a night in, night out basis. Like, I think you have a great choice in Troy Melton, but like, this is my minuscule way of punishing them. No crowns this week for the players.
No crowns. Truly, like, if you're still watching and you're still listening, tip of the cap. Like, some real sicko stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be a long rest of the way if this is how it's going to go, but we'll be right there talking about it. All right, Jordan. Weekly preview time. They got two more against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and then they go to Wright Field, I think it still is, in Chicago to play the White Sox. How about your prediction for the next 5?
I got to be honest with you. If they would have won tonight, you would have gotten a 5-0 from me. That's just how I roll. I could just as easily be talked into 0-5. I'm going to split the difference, and I'll go 2-3. That being said, I'm going to try to go on Saturday to see Melton. I mean, it's not really to see Melton, just he will be pitching. So I hope to win that one. Yeah, give me 2-3.
I'm going to go 1-4.
Yeah, it's probably more right.
Yeah, I don't know. Tell me about good things on the farm, Jordan, please.
Well, I got a couple for you. Taron Lorenzo is hot as a pistol at Erie. 10 for his last 34 with 4 dingers, 11 ribs, 9 walks to 11 Ks. and an OPS at 1100.
That's good.
That is good. He obviously the shine is very much off that prospect stock, but he's still a young kid. He still plays a premium position for now, and all of the rest of the news is pretty bad. So we'll take that one. Malachi Witherspoon, second rounder last year, is at Lakeland. He has 21 strikeouts to 4 walks in his last 17 innings pitched. It's kind of gone a little undernoted that like we're not really developing pitchers right now. It's kind of the opposite of the Alavila era. So if this is a guy that we can get going, I think I don't know. He started all the games. He looks like a reliever to me, but just have somebody moving fast through the system. Like that would be something to watch. And then Chris Rodriguez, the young phenom, very, very young. He's in the complex league, 879 OPS on the year, 20 Ks and 60 at bats, which, if I'm not mistaken, is approximately 33.333 etc. percent, which is a lot. Not as much as Bryce Rayner, but a lot. But he also has 8 extra base hits in the 60 at bats, so clearly there's some thump in that bat. Yeah, the main guys that you want to see, Max is doing just fine. Briseño is swinging again, so I hope that he will be back on the field sooner rather than later. Again, don't check Bryce Rayner's box scores. It's a disaster zone. And yeah, Lorenzo's finally starting to swing it a little bit. So that's how the farm looks, and nobody on the farm is winning.
It's a tough year for this Detroit organization. Do you want to give some listener questions, Jordan?
Are there any happy ones?
Yeah. You know what? Yes.
All right, cool. Then
Andrew,
yes.
a.k.a. Back Porch View on Twitter, he says he's trying for some positivity this week. What has been your biggest good surprise for the 2026 Detroit Tigers?
McGonigal is better than I even thought. I think we knew he was going to be a dude. I had no idea that he could be this good this early. I'm trying to think if there's anything. I'm sure there's something else, right? A lot of guys have made their debut. That's cool for you.
That's fun. Yeah. I probably have to go with McGonigal as well, and I like the way that Casey Mize is throwing the ball this season.
Yeah,
I don't know how much
true.
of a surprise it is, but like I've been pleased that way.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Laps on Twitter. He wants to know, are we tired of the cheerleading going on in the Tigers radio and television booths? He gives an example last week. Workman hasn't made an error yet. Or Wenzel had a good swing last week. Or McKinstry's hitting in bad luck. He says, do they think we're morons? Good grief, just tell us the truth. Jordan, what is your opinion on the broadcast?
This is an interesting one. It is a really tough thing calling 162 games and making 162 games interesting. I get what you're saying, Laps. That being said, if you tune in every night and Jason and Andy and Daniela and Johnny are all pissy, we're going to turn that off because the game is going to make us pissy. Like that's where we're going to be. Something has to provide levity. Like, and I know that you're not necessarily referring to the jokes and all that kind of stuff that I think make the game more interesting. You're referring to the actual like analysis. And I have a little bit of like, I know that, you know, you ask if they think we're morons, and I don't think so, but like, how many different, like, Gage Workman's going to have 4 at-bats every game. Like, how many different ways can you say, like, yeah, he's not very good. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be some variation in what you're saying. And, like, when the truth is that most of these guys are having terrible seasons and or just aren't very good, like, something's got to give. I don't know. I feel like I've rambled, but, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of thought given to like the philosophy of our broadcasters in, like, are they, corporate shells, all this. I feel like it's mostly just them going off the dome and then people trying to backfill in some sort of motivation to what they're saying. Sure, their paychecks are cut by Chris Ilitch. That being said, like, calling the games are hard. Calling a ton of games is even harder. I don't know. I don't know that it's some grand conspiracy like they're trying to gaslight us into thinking things are better than they are. Sometimes I think it just is what it is. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you bring up a really good point, Jordan. It's difficult to call games. It's difficult to call 162 games. It's extremely difficult to call 162 games of a bad team. To your point, like, there is an obligation to the audience to keep somewhat of a positive tone. And for me, ultimately, they are employees of the organization. You can only badmouth your boss so many times on live television before you probably are at risk of losing your job. So, yeah, it's incredibly annoying when they sugarcoat how bad the team is. But I'm with you. I think they are stuck between a rock and a hard place. And if you were to probably ask them off air, they share the same sentiment that we do. They're incredibly frustrated. I mean, just listen to Dan Dickerson, when things don't go right. But they are going to try to stay positive as long as they can because there's no other way. It can't be doom and gloom from the broadcast of the team. It just never will be that way.
If Jason and Andy cease to be positive, there will legitimately be zero reason to turn the TV on every night. Like that is just where we're at. So hopefully that doesn't change, though. I don't know, man. This team might do it to them.
They might. And our last question this week, Aaron Caverly on Twitter. He wants to know, is Troy Melton better than Jackson Jobe?
What do you think?
Yet to be seen. Oh, man. Our boy Tyler Holton just gave up a big fly. 10-6 in this game, Jordan. 10-6. Have the wheels fallen off completely?
I feel like we might know by... we definitely will know by the next time we do the show.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard to say. Hard to say they haven't. But to answer your question, honestly, I think Melton might be better than Jobe. I feel like they have a very similar arsenal, with Melton having a little less of the head baggage that Jobe has. Which I'm not like no indictment on Jobe. I just think he's a perfectionist, where Troy Melton's just like, yeah, I'm gonna chill and let it rip. Like, I think if Jobe had a little more of that, they would have actually very, very similar outcomes. And, he's had some time out. Maybe he comes back that way. We'll see.
I'm going to go Jobe just because of the pedigree, but I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan, it's always
Tonight
a pleasure.
took a turn. Yeah.
It did. Yeah. I'm sorry, listeners. That was quite the roller coaster for you guys to listen to, but I know you're right there in it with us. Jordan, anything for the good of the order before we sign off tonight?
Honestly, no. I've got nothing. I feel like normally I'm trying to soliloquy my way into thinking all of this is fine, but I don't know. It isn't. Like, this is not a good baseball team and likely not a good season. But I don't know. It was always fun talking with you.
It's always fun talking with you, Jordan. The only thing I got, and I'm not ready to go there just yet, but acceptance is the first step. At some point, we all will probably have to stare at each other and just say, this bird is cooked, stick a fork in them, and look forward to the small things, like the debuts of Max Clark and the progression of Troy Melton, everything else that we talked about. And I think if and when that time comes, it will be a little bit of a sigh of relief because we can just let go of all the expectations that we're still clinging on to for this team. Because I know I still have a lot of frustration in the hopes every single night they're just going to start to rattle off a lot of wins, and the team of old will come through the mist, but it's looking less and less likely as time goes on. And sometimes you just have to call a spade a spade. And as you mentioned, this is looking like not a good team and not a good season, but certainly not out of it yet.
Truthfully, it comes down to the quote from your show, Ted Lasso. It is the hope that kills you. Like, if we can get to the point where it is beyond, ticket prices start to get a little cheaper, maybe we're going a few more games, we can just get back to enjoying baseball. But not enjoyable at the moment.
No,
I hope that
not
kills
at
you.
all. Listeners, thank you very, very much for tuning in. If you want to follow along, we have a lot of fun on the socials at Eat 'em Up Pod. Jordan is at hosted by Jay Hall. New
If you want to
episodes
see
every
my
Wednesday.
bird photos, that's where you can see it, and about nothing else at this point.
Yeah. Show feedback, listener feedback, suggestions for guests. eatemuppod@gmail.com. Go ahead and give us a 5-star review. Tell us what you like about the show. Tell us what you don't like about the show. Give us your opinion for the rest of the way. And that's it for this week. So on behalf of Jordan Hall, I'm Alex Urban. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.